Welcome back to the Addison Books YouTube channel. My name is Jamal Fridge. I am the author of the Christian middle grade novel series, The Life and Times of Theodore Addison. And while the books are for kids, I also care about the people raising the kids. So this YouTube channel will be a resource for you. Now, when I first pictured this series, I didn't anticipate the inclusion of this girl right here, Ambrosia Rodriguez, also known as Amber, also known as Bookworm. And as the nickname implies, Amber loves books. She's hungry for knowledge and she pulls it from all sources about all kinds of topics. And I believe the theme of Amber's life would be representative. Here's why. In fifth grade challenge, we get to meet Bookworm in full when Veronica ropes her into a plan to mess with the boys' heads during a competition. And when she talks with her crush, that being Yakov or James, about her life, she tells him how they were too poor to watch movies and TV, and so she read books and eventually preferred them over other media. Now, if you've watched the video about Yakov, you'll know that it was hard for him to accept this new place he lives in since he thinks if he moves again, well, at least he hasn't planted roots too deep. And so it'll be easier for him to move. But it was Amber who showed him that it was better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And in a similar vein, because of everything that she's learned through reading, she becomes this wellspring of knowledge and wisdom. So, for instance, in Operation Mapleview, though she isn't a focal character in this book, uh, when Veronica has trouble, she calls Bookworm. She says, like, "Hey, what do you recommend? What would you advise?" And Bookworm usually has pretty good advice. And so she applied this wisdom and this knowledge to an ambassador program at her school. So, as a student ambassador, she's responsible for introducing new students to resources that the school may have, or that the community might have if the new student isn't familiar with it. And one of those new students that she met was Veronica. And Veronica, as soon as she became popular, she basically discarded Bookworm. And that was a very painful memory for her. It kind of drove Bookworm back into her shell. And in moments like these, reading anything, whether it's a presidential memoir or a mystery book, that could be a coping mechanism. Anything to take her mind off the pain. How do you cope with the hard knocks of life? For some, it could be destructive. It could be self-destructive. For others, it could be something seemingly as harmless as watching TV and binging Netflix. But at what point does coping with grief turn into something that pulls you away from healing? At what point does it become avoiding healing? It may be possible that we may be burying our grief and letting it fester. And so that's just a thought. But this is kind of why in the story I have Amber confront Veronica for betraying her for the cool crowd, because it gets the truth out there. It promotes reconciliation. It demonstrates courage on Amber's part and repentance on Veronica's part. And so when I first introduced this book in China to my students there, Amber was an instant favorite with the readers. Like, I would say, like, at a 2-to-1 margin to the next closest person. And I just kind of knew that she had to be in every book going forward now. And I think part of the reason why is that she felt more relatable. Uh, it wasn't just the amount of reading that she did, because my Chinese students did a lot of reading and a lot of homework. Uh, but the readers loved how courageous she was, even though she didn't strike anyone as this brave person. And so she comes off mousy, She's earnest and she cares. She tries to do right, but maybe it might not come across that way. How many other kids fit this profile? Parents, how would you describe your child? And do you think they would resonate with someone like Amber? I'm really interested in reading your comments about this. And I'd also like to know, how are you raising your kids to be brave like she is? I appreciate you all watching. And if you're intrigued by the series, the book is free. It's right here on YouTube. So go ahead and listen to it. I'm sure your kids will love it. I'm sure they'll gain a lot from it. And that's kind of why I also encourage you to listen to it too. Maybe listen to it with them. In the meantime, I'd appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed and share this video with someone in your circle. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Thank you.